All right, everyone, we are back. It's another episode of Inside Boxing Live. Dan Canobio and the champ, Chris Algieri, and we are powered by PPV.com. It's a PPV.com fight week. I'm here in San Antonio at the hotel, coming to you live and direct, ready to get ready for a huge night of boxing on Saturday night, December 6th, Pitbull versus Roach. And it's going to be streaming live on ppv.com. We've been doing some pay-per-view giveaways. We're going to give away run on this episode, so stay tuned. You never know when we're going to give it away. You have to watch the whole show. We've been giving away pods, pay-per-views. I'm ahead of myself here, man. Giving away pay-per-views. We're doing a podcast in San Antonio with Chris Algieri. We do it every week, and ppv.com is our proud presenting sponsor. Saturday night, we're going to be in that live interactive chat, me and Chris, chatting our faces off. Join us. It's the coolest way to watch a fight. Join us in that chat. Stream it to all your devices. No subscriptions. We're not asking you to lock in for a year. We just come as you go. Come as you go. Come as you please. Just like Chris Algieri has tattooed somewhere on his body. Come as you please.
Wow.
That was too much.
That was way too much. Way too much. But listen, Cowboy Dan Canobio, for those of you that are just listening to today's podcast, Cowboy Dan Canobio has his brand new San Antonio cowboy hat on display. So, you know, he's been getting ready to get ready. And, dude, you're saying
I speak for a living.
Dude, we need one of our listeners, if they can just take note and keep track of all of the sayings that Dan botches along the way, would be tremendous.
That's not a new thing. That's not a new phenomenon. I've been doing it my whole life. Like my brother, younger brother, Robbie, he's a little bit of a smart ass. My younger brother. Yeah, he's like, dude, what? That's not even a phrase. I'm like the Yogi Berra of baseball, of boxing. I just make up my own. I mess that up.
Young unk. That's an unk move. That's a real unk move to just like miss a current saying and just botch it.
Especially as a broadcaster, someone who speaks for a living.
Well, you would think you would get better at it, but you haven't.
No. I'm rapidly getting worse, which is very, very scary. My brain, I don't know what needs to be studied.
I'm the former fighter, and I'm getting better. You're getting worse. I don't know what's going on here.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I am in San Antonio here in the hotel room. We have a ridiculous setup right now. The Roadcaster is on an ironing board. The computer is on a baggage, like what you put your suitcase on. But the show must go on. We're going to head to the weigh-in, and right after this, I just came from the fighter workouts yesterday. Did a bunch of content all week. Got to meet some fighters I've never met, like Arizona Lara, who is he 42? Because he looks like he's 25. His face, like I was like, dude, what? Like fountain of youth with that guy. But we're putting out a lot of
Cubans are older than they say. He. I don't think you can go the other way. Usually, you're like, he's a Cuban. A Cuban 42 means he's like 48, but not this
right. Like we've heard the jokes and we know like the stereotypes, but this dude looks super young, and we'll see because he's got a new opponent because Janabek pops for a PED. So Lara is now fighting Johan Gonzalez, who upset Jarrett Hurd.
Yeah, he's fought on Pro Box. I know a ton about him actually.
Just ran into Gary Jonas, Pro Box. Yeah, saw him at breakfast, and I said, I'm heading up to the podcast with your boy, Chris Algieri. He said, hello. There you go. All right, let's keep it moving here on the episode. Let's keep it moving here. There's a lot going on in boxing right now. Good gracious. A lot of news outside of the ring, stuff with Congress, stuff with legislation. Terrence Crawford, has he put out another diss track in the last 10 minutes? I don't know. He threw his belt in the WBC belt into the trash, a la Riddick Bowe. We have fighters testing positive for PEDs. We have fights being announced. We have eliminators being announced. We have fights being talked about down in Thailand at the WBC convention. It's a wild, wild time right now. It's hard to keep up, and my job is to keep up. And it's hard to keep up when you're on the road and you're singly focused on one thing, which is the ppv.com pay-per-view on Saturday. But I have been following. We will get to that later on the show. We will dive way more into it on future episodes when we can dedicate more time. But for this episode, Chris, we got to talk boxing. It's Inside Boxing Live, and there's a big card this weekend, a really fun card, and I'm excited about this card.
I am too. This is a good card top to bottom, and even though we lost the Janabek Lara fight, it's still a good card. It's that deep of a card. So I obviously we're going to go through each fight, but you definitely don't want to miss this card. And yes, there's a bunch of other stuff going on, but let's lock in here, Dan. I know we got a little lazy in August and September, and now the sport is rocking and rolling. So I don't want to hear any complaints. We're locked in. Let's go.
I will say, like, it is one of the most interesting times in boxing. Like the stuff with TKO and the stuff what's going on with Ali Act, and interesting not meaning like one way or the other. And then great fights. We got Teo and Shakur, which got announced at the end of our last show. So 2026 is looking huge. It's a crazy time in the sport right now. But we'll start off by previewing the 12-6 card, why I'm here in San Antonio and why you should be watching on Saturday night. We'll just start with the main event and work our way down. It's Lamont Roach versus Isaac Cruz. It is a fight at 140 pounds with title implications. I know there's an interim belt on the line that does mean something in boxing, as belts come into the focus in this conversation. Interim means you're one step away from a title shot. Talking to Lamont Roach all week long and in the lead up and watching interviews with him, he's got his eye on Gary Antoine Russell, who's the WBC champ at 140. He's got his eyes on Teofimo and Shakur winner, but he better have his eyes on Isaac Cruz, because Isaac Cruz is coming to win. He's going to have a whole arena behind him. A lot of Mexican fans here in San Antonio. He has the judges, but we're in Texas, so that's something you have to keep in mind of. I know Lamont Roach is looking towards the future because he had that fight with Tank and everything that happened there. But this is a tough task ahead of him in Cruz.
Yeah, tough for a lot of reasons. And you alluded to it there, that the fight is in Texas. It is going to be a pro-Mexican crowd. Cruz is Mexican. He not only has a whole fan base, he's got a whole country behind him. And you spoke about Gary Jonas earlier. You saw him downstairs. The reason he's there, he is the promoter of Lamont Roach. And he is privy to the picking of judges and the referees and the officials for fight night. So people who don't know that.
We talked about it.
Yeah, promoters and managers. Well, maybe we have some new listeners, but we have promoters and managers deal with who the officials are for fight night, for big fights when you're the main event. So, and Gary, the CEO of ProBox TV and co-promoter of Lamont Roach, is something that they're concerned about, and rightfully so, because listen, judges are human. If you're in an arena and everything the other guy does, the arena explodes, which tends to happen when you've got a Mexican fighter fighting in a pro-Mexican area. Every hook that Cruz throws, the crowd's going to go nuts. And then shots where Lamont maybe lands a clean, crisp cracker, the crowd sits on their hands. So if you're a judge, you're human. I mean, you're not supposed to be biased, but it's still there is the environment around you. You're not locked in a box. You are in the arena as a judge, which is why I am not jealous of judges or envious of judges. But interesting fight, and a lot of implications for the winner.
To go a step deeper on the judges, and we are in Texas, and that's going to come into play if this goes the distance, is a lot of the judges are over in Thailand, Bangkok. For this WBC convention. So there are some judges that are experienced, but they're not the normal names. And hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we're not worried about a bad decision. We're talking on Monday about a really good fight at 140, and the winner of it's going to move on to some other big fights at 140. But this is boxing, and it's something to keep an eye on, especially when you're looking to place some wagers on the fight, which we will get to as well. But let's go over to Isaac Cruz. Last 5 fights, he's coming off of a win over Omar Salcido. That was a UD win. He had the fight of the year candidate with Angel Ferrero, which was this year. That was on the Benavidez Morel card, which feels like it was 10 years ago. He lost to Valenzuela. He has the win over Rolly. He's got the draw with Gervonta Davis, which came all the way back in 2021, which is kind of launched Pitbull's career. But he's the type of fighter, Chris, where he's got 3 losses. He's got a draw. We've seen him at the highest of highs. We've seen him have very flat performances. But what you're going to get. You're going to get entertainment. You're going to get value. You're going to get a come-forward fighter. And there's still a market for that. And it's very refreshing.
Yeah, I rewatched the Gervonta Davis fight. And God, Cruz fought really well. It was a really good performance by Cruz. And then I also watched the Valenzuela fight, and that was a really bad performance. I mean, this guy is so hot and cold, hit or miss, which generally guys who fight like him aren't like that. Usually when you've got a will guy who's going to come forward and bang with both hands, they're pretty consistent. He is not. So it depends on which guy shows up tonight. But even the Fierro fight, Fierro wasn't really on the world-class level. He shouldn't have had that type of fight with Fierro. Unfortunately, we didn't get the rematch. That's actually why he fought Salcido. Fierro fell out of that fight on fight week, and Salcido got moved up. And Salcido was a guy who fought on Pro Box TV, another guy not on the world-class level. And sure, Cruz handled him, but I expected more. I was not impressed with that performance either. So recent run of show, I haven't been super impressed with Cruz. But dude, I don't know. When I'm talking about this fight and I'm analyzing, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Cruz can be really, really difficult to deal with. And if he shows up, he's a problem for everybody.
Yeah, guys, exactly, right? Exactly. We've seen him look like bad in there, and we've seen him look world beater. Like, holy crap! Like, this guy is a force. But that was at 135. Like, you've kind of brought this point up. Like, 140 is different, and he doesn't have that same like devastating power, but he's going to accumulate. And I was looking at the punch stats, and just for volume's sake, and you think, Pitbull Cruz, this guy's going to go in there and throw 70, 80 punches around. No, he's economical. He throws under 50 punches around. He throws 48.6 punches around. He doesn't jab. I mean, 14 of his 15 landed punches around are power shots. He lands one jab per round. I mean, this is why the arena will be going crazy on fight night, is because he comes to throw bombs. And we're gonna see which Cruz shows up. That's what kind of makes it interesting. And it's like your prototypical brawler versus boxer, brawler versus and Roach, who is a scientist in there,
Sweet scientist.
An engineer. He's got an engineer background, which was in our CompuBox notes, and has a degree in that too. So it's a really good main event, and we can head over to Lamont Roach. His last couple of fights. His last fight came against Gervonta Davis. He's been asked about it all week long. I think he's getting a little tired of it, but also he has to accept the fact that he's going to be linked to Gervonta Davis pretty much for the rest of his career, unless they somehow get a rematch. And if I'm Roach, I'm like, thank you, Gervonta Davis, because you launched me into stardom. Because being around Roach once again on a fight week, and when I do our little mini mic stuff, it's like the dude just gets it. And I'm just so happy that he had that opportunity to fight Tank and put on such a good performance, arguably won, because he's like the type of fighter that needed something like that for everyone to understand what type of fighter he is in the ring and the type of personality he is like outside of it. I think he's an asset to the sport. He'll speak on other topics. He's just very well spoken, great fighter. So yeah, he's going to be asked about Gervonta a lot, but I think it's a good thing, because now that fight brought him onto the big stage, and it allowed him to be in main events and to do interviews all over the place, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, there are diamonds in the rough in this sport. It's not always the same track where it's like, all right, you come up and Top Rank builds you from your big amateur pedigree, and you get built to a world title fight in your 20th fight. It doesn't always happen that way. It didn't happen that way for me. Didn't happen that way for Lamont. Even though Lamont did have a big amateur background and was looked at by a lot of these bigger promotions, things just didn't work out. He took that loss to Jamel Herring when he was pretty young. A bunch of years ago, and it was a forgettable performance, and he got written off after that. I'm glad that he's back. I agree, he's an asset to the sport. Smart guy, smart team. His dad is his trainer. His brother Jordan is another really good looking prospect coming up. And I've been around their family in that gym quite a bit, working with Pro Box TV and doing fights with their promotional company as well. And everything is systematic. They are a business. The Roach family is a business that operates boxing. Man, it's impressive. It's very, very cool to see. They're very smart. They're very tactical in the way they approach everything, whether it's in the ring or out of the ring. And you're seeing that with the way that Roach has been able to blow up. Yeah, he didn't get the rematch he didn't get the decision against Roach the first time. He didn't get the rematch, but the guy has been all over the media. He has blown up, and that's this time. He just needed a little push. And they've run with it. And that goes to show you how smart these guys are, both in the ring and out.
I asked him after the Tank fight, who was in your DMs? I don't think you wanted to like fully tell me, but Keisha Cole, or, the R&B singer from earlier. She wished him
how old is she?
43. But here's the thing: when you say in the DMs, it's just such a like she was literally saying great performance, and he was like, I was a gentleman, and I said thank you. But like, yeah, that's he you knew he blew up because he said he got a shit ton of attention. You know, he got his highest payday against Tank, and he is where he's at. But yeah, just from a personal standpoint, he's really cool to be around. So is Pitbull, very respectful guy, very businesslike. Was rocking the ice. He had a chain and a bracelet, iced out yesterday during our interview session. So you could tell that Pitbull's is enjoying the fruits of his labor. Yeah, that Jamel Herring loss came in 2019. And then Lamont Roach went on a winning streak. And then he had the draw with Gervonta Davis. He also had a draw with Orlando Cruz in 2018. So in the span of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights, he had a loss and a draw. And we know in boxing, if you don't have a big-time promoter, you're not a big name, you know, it's hard to come back from a loss and a draw in a 4 or 5 span fight career. So good for Roach to get back here, and it should be a good one. I mean, I'm leaning towards Roach because I just think he's coming off of the Gervonta fight, and I liked what I saw in that fight, and I think he showed that he could be the bigger man inside that ring. And Pitbull's a smaller guy, like he's probably a naturally 135 pounder, just like Tank really is a naturally like 130 pounder. And I like Roach. I think he's ascending right now. I think the momentum is behind him. He can box on the inside if he has to. He can box on the outside. He's got pop. One question asked yesterday was, what's the biggest misconception about you as a fighter? And right away, he's like, people think I can't punch. And I think I showed in the Gervonta fight that I can punch. You know, I hurt him at times more than Tank hurt me. And if you go back and watch that Tank fight, you could see that. So I think he's really coming into his own right now. So I can go into predictions right now. I would say I like Roach by I'm going to say split decision because we're in Texas. I think some funky business will happen, but Roach should win this one.
Yeah, I generally in these kind of matchups, when you got the aggressive puncher and the boxer, I lean towards the boxer. I just think there's more tools in the toolbox to use to win. And I think I've said this on on this show before. Cruz reminds me of like a poor man's Ruslan Provodnikov. You know, he doesn't hit as hard. He's really small for the weight class, but he's super aggressive. He's got fast hands. He cuts off the ring well and is relentless. Just constantly relentless pressure. Also, great chin, like fantastic chin, super durable. I do think this fight goes 12 rounds. I don't think either one of these guys knocks each other out. But it's in Texas, dude. You got the hat on for a reason. Like I mentioned at the top, the judging, they're human. And I think that's a smart move. You go and split decision, you know, thinking that I think Roach should win the fight too. I think technically and stylistically, I think he has all the skills and all the tools. But can he get a decision in Texas with a pro-Mexican crowd fighting a Mexican? That's this is why I wouldn't bet on this fight.
I'm looking at the odds right now. But you're going with,
anyway.
You're going with Roach.
Roach money line.
Roach money line. That's smart. Yeah, I have it here. It's minus 235 for Lamont Roach, so a modest favorite, plus 180 for Cruz. The over/under is set probably pretty high, 10.5 rounds. Cruz by knockout, plus 550. They know that Roach is durable. Roach by decision, minus 135. So Vegas thinks Roach can win a decision in Vegas. Yeah, I hate having to talk about judges, but you're right. Like I've worked a show here. Was it a month ago in South Padre Island? And the refereeing was all over the place. The timekeeper messed up like 2 or 3 times.
What is it with Texas, man? What the hell? Like
it's always been a thing, right?
Historically known as a weird officiating spot. And I say weird being nice. It's been bad, like outright. It's like outright horrible. Like every bad decision.
Dude, going back to Pernell Whitaker Chavez, wasn't that here?
Yep, exactly.
It's a great town.
I love San Antonio. I love Texas in general, but Paulie and Diaz, and that was another highway robbery.
Oh boy! You know what's funny about that fight is Paulie wanted notorious CompuBox hater, but he wanted the stats to prove that he beat Diaz in the and to get his rematch, and it helped him get the rematch, which I did remind him of when me and Paulie had our sit down in Orlando, and we broke bread together. But yeah, Texas is a wild place when it comes to judging, refereeing. Lawrence Cole is here. His dad used to run the commission. He was the referee in that wild Juarez fight that I worked for MVP here in Texas, South Padre Island. Hopefully this is not a thing, guys. Hopefully on Monday we're not talking robbery because it's been a great fight week. It's a great city. I did the Riverwalk. Beautiful.
Love San Antonio. I'm very jealous of you.
Bro, we talked last week about how I saw a number on the scale that I've never seen before. Quick update on that. My mom watched the podcast. She says, Dan, did you use the scale in my room? I said, yeah. She goes, oh, that's wrong. So I'm actually 180, not 185.
There's still an 8 in there. But that's the number, dude.
Another update is we've been eating like savages. Like,
so you might,
I posted
you
on
might
my...
actually be at 85 then.
There is a scale here in the hotel bathroom. I'm afraid to get on it because we have been eating brisket, ribs, everything. Like breakfast has brisket. Like at the Spurs game, I had a baked potato with brisket on it. Everything is just loaded with barbecue. And when we're not eating barbecue, we're eating Tex-Mex. I'm not complaining, but it's like, oh man, this is the food is unreal. And quickly, before we move on to the next fight, we're talking about the Spurs game. Our guy, Sean Sweeney, associate head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, hooked us up with amazing seats. We brought John, who's here, our producer. We sat pretty much underneath the net for the Spurs win over the Grizzlies. We got a car service back to the hotel. It was just phenomenal. Only bad part is Wemby didn't play, the 7'5" phenom out of France. And I got to talk to Sean, huge boxing fan, Sean Sweeney, associate head coach of the Spurs. Guy just wants to talk boxing. His wife was sitting with us, and she's like, yeah, you think he likes basketball? All he wants to do is talk boxing and cigars. So, Chris, this guy, this might be our new friend here.
I love this guy. It's everything that I want to do. That's everything that I generally do is just talk about boxing and smoke cigars. So,
yeah.
Cool guy. All right, I like that. She said he likes basketball. He really likes boxing.
She's like, oh, yeah, you're the boxing guy. Yep. And he's like, man, Sean, he doesn't stop. He went to the Inoue fight in Vegas, so he's been in the league for a while. He's bounced around from a lot of teams.
I was at the Inoue fight. Obviously, I was calling it.
Well, next time we'll hook you guys up because he's the man. So shout out to Sean. Shout out to the Spurs for showing us a lot of hospitality. All right, let's go to the people's main event. It is O'Shaquie Foster with his belts at 130 WBC belts going up against Stephen Fulton going up to his third weight class. I spoke to Foster yesterday, and I said, this is the people's main event. And he smiled, and he goes, you're right. That's all I'm hearing. No offense to Roach and Cruz, but this is the one that fans are really excited about. It's been on and off and canceled and brought back, and it's a really good fight. It's a really intriguing fight. It's the closest fight odds-wise on the card. It's intriguing because Foster, everyone just kind of writes him off. He's had a tumultuous life, just a storybook type of life, and now he's on top as the champ. And you got Fulton, who is a household name in the boxing world from the Inoue fight and winning titles at smaller weights. And now he's up at 130. That's intriguing. But this is going to be a banger at 130. A banger. A technical banger.
Love this fight. Cool boy Steph, man. You can't count him out unless he's fighting Inoue. Because everyone else, he's a problem. He's a problem for Foster included. I mean, but Foster, man, and I've said this on past shows. Foster's huge for 130. He has a really big 130 pound, really big 130 pounder. That could be the difference here. But the way that Fulton boxes and the way that he uses his IQ, he can negate all of that. And that's why this fight is so intriguing. That's why it's so close on the odds. This is a tough weekend to make money, dude. Bet on these fights is real.
This is how it should be.
This is how it should be, but it's never really the case. But we got a really good card with good fights, like really competitive matchups. Are they going to be thrilling and exciting? That we can't tell, but they're going to be competitive.
I think the main event will be thrilling. I think it'll be because of Pitbull and because of the styles. Like this Foster Fulton fight, I wouldn't say they fight exactly the same, but they're kind of technical guys.
They have similar attributes.
Exactly, similar attributes. We talk about Stephen Fulton, who I think if he wins this fight, he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory because this will be his third title in a third weight class. Bouncing back from that Inoue loss to go and win 2 more titles, that's super impressive. But when Fulton was coming up, when you're watching him on Showbox, you're watching him on Showtime, he was a guy that would throw 100 punches around. He was a guy that had a motor. And as he's gotten older, and as he's
him and Angelo
that was
Leo were like
that fight was sick.
Fight. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I remember interviewing him after that fight. I'm like, dude, you averaged like 30 of 100 from like the third round on, like out of nowhere. Like you just really ramped it up. But that was years ago, and he was in his 20s. So now he's in his 30s, 31, and he's at a new weight class. He keeps moving up. So he's kind of brought the punch volume down, and he's kind of focused his offense in different ways, been a little more crafty, and that's how he picked up the win over Brendan Figueroa, who's like will throw 100 punches around. Foster's not going to do that either. He's not that night at all, and that's what I'm looking at his box rec. And like the Figueroa fight, I was wrong. I thought Figueroa was going to win. I didn't like how Fulton looked against Castro, which I thought he got like almost a gift decision. That was in September of 2024. So I said it. We said on the show, like I was wrong. Like I think I said it to Fulton. I owe you an apology. Like you showed us something versus Figueroa enough to get this shot here at 130. But I will say this, dude. When I was interviewing him yesterday, and he was just talking about he's I wouldn't say he's having trouble make the weight because we'll see on the scales. But you could see that like even 130, he's a big guy, Fulton too. Like even making 130 is tough for Stephen Fulton.
That's crazy to think about because again, third weight class. He only fought two times at 126. It was the Castro fight and then the Figueroa fight. Gets the title and then immediately jumps up to 30. That's crazy to think that he used to make 22. For the majority of his career. But yeah, no, this is. I might change my pick just talking about this because I'm thinking about the Brendan Figueroa fight, and that was one of those victories where at the end of it I was like, you know what, I shouldn't bet against this guy. That was stupid, And but he's messed me up because I didn't predict him to beat in a way, but I said that he could. I think he had all the.
Well, a lot of people thought that too.
Yeah. And then I thought he was going to lose to Figueroa. Super wrong in both counts. But yeah, I've been picking Foster based on the size. I might be flip flopping on the show right now. I might go Fulton.
Not the first time you flip flopped on your picks on this show.
I might flip flop again.
You never know. True Algerian form.
You know where I don't flip flop? When I bet. When I bet.
I know. That's what we really need to see. That's what we really need to see. We don't need to see about your picks. We need to see your DraftKings screenshots because that's your real pick. And this is a really even fight.
Doesn't happen until right before the fight. That's how I operate. I need all of the information before I make my bet. And sometimes we do our show a couple days before. Too bad. You should have texted me.
Yeah, it's Friday morning. They haven't even hopped on. They've hopped on the scale. I probably should look at Twitter. They've done the regular weigh-in. The official weigh-in, and then they have the ceremonial weigh-in, which we're heading to in a little bit. Yeah, I was just chatting with Fulton, like when we were in like a hotel ballroom, like doing our interviews. He was waiting to go next, and I was like, man, he was just explaining to me how hard it is to do media when you're dehydrated, how hard it is to do media when you're cutting weight. And I was like, I know. And I'm sitting there with a mic in my hand, and I'm sitting there asking him, "What's your favorite blah blah blah." What do you think about this? What do you think about that? But he's such a professional that he powered through it, and it's not his first rodeo. I mean, he's literally been in there at the highest level in Japan in front of thousands at the Tokyo Dome fighting Inoue. I like how he's bounced back from that fight. What I don't like is the inactivity, and I think that's out of his hands. Like he has famously taken to Twitter to kind of be upset with his promoters or the powers that be to not get him fights. Because after Inoue, he didn't fight again for a year, 14 months against Castro, where he didn't look great. Maybe that was ring rust. And then he took some more time off in Figueroa. Now, this is the first time he's fighting 2 times in a year since 2021 for Fulton, which
it's a good sign for him.
Probably because he is 31. And you think, oh wow, 31. That's not that old. But like if you at the lower weights,
yeah,
it's the opposite of heavyweight.
You age a lot faster. Yeah, you age a lot faster down there.
Heavyweight, you carry your power. You can fight to your 45, typically, or somewhat effectively at heavyweight. Like 31 at those weights that's a little rough. Over to Foster, who's just a dog. This dude, up and down career. I want to go early on in his career. He had 2 losses in 2015 and 2016. He got dropped by promoters. He got picked up by promoters. He was like homeless for a while. Top Rank, he had his issues with Top Rank. He almost got robbed of a fight. He did get robbed by Conceição, and they almost tried to rob him again against Eduardo Hernandez, and he had one of the craziest buzzer-beating 12th round stoppages that was out of a Rocky movie back in 2023 just to retain his belt. So he's had an up and down career, and you can just tell he's really happy and proud. He was walking around with the WBC belts. I did an interview with him and asked him about the sanctioning fees. He's like, I got no problem. This green belt changed my life, he said. So if Mauricio Suleiman tells me that some of the sanctioning fees go towards ex-fighters and it goes towards this, he's like, WBC changed my life, so I'm going to honor their rules and regulations. But you can just tell that this guy has been through a lot, and now this is probably the biggest fight of his career.
Yeah, when he you mentioned the robbery against Conceição, which I firmly believe was a robbery as well. You could see how dejected he was after that fight. He was like beside himself because they basically took his belt from him. And so the belt does mean a lot to him. Obviously,
it means a lot to. I don't mean to cut you off. It means a lot to guys like him more than a Crawford because.
And me too. And I understand it because my belt changed my life too. And I actually was just on Morning Combat talking to BC and Luke Thomas, and we were talking about this because he asked me about the belts because of everything that's going on. And I said, they're important. Belts matter. You know, I wasn't the Olympian coming out with a big signing bonus going through. I needed that belt in order to become what I became. And, you know, I wanted to be a champion, but also I wanted to make money. And that belt was a good bargaining chip. And it allowed me, I had entry into the room because I didn't have an amateur background. There was no entry for me if I didn't win a belt. And if I wasn't undefeated when I got that shot either, I would have never got the shot. So for guys like me, guys like Foster, belts really matter. So I understand that. I remember talking to my nephew during that fight when he lost to Conceição, and I was like, this poor bastard. I get it. I felt his pain that night. I would have been absolutely destroyed if that had happened to me. So I get it. I really root for this guy. Am I going to flip flop again, Dan?
Well, I don't know what you're flopping from. Like, I don't know. What's your? We're going to find out in a second. We're going to find out in a second. Yeah, he lost to Conceição in 2024. Luckily, he got the rematch right away because we've seen this too. It's like you're not a big name, not the biggest name in boxing. You lose
and they made that one close too. That was
one I'm looking at.
Well.
Yeah, 115, 113, 115, 113. He actually was down on a split decision. Yeah, so one judge had him losing. But now he's got Fulton, and I'm going back and forth too because I have the DraftKings odds here. It's minus 110 for Foster, minus 115 for Fulton. It's basically a pick'em fight. Foster by decision. Holy good gracious. Foster by decision. Okay, I read that wrong. Foster by decision is plus 155. And being around Fulton and Fulton should win this fight. I think he has the more skills, and I think he is a better boxer. But something about Foster being at the weight longer, I think Foster's the naturally stronger guy, and I think he's more sturdy. Something about it. Like, I don't know. I'm just using my noggin here, and which isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. But I was 4 for 4 on ring 5. Okay, guys. I like. I was 4 for 4.
What's that saying from the Wolf of Wall Street? We hang our hat on our losses because there's so few of them. You hang your hat on your wins because there's so few of them.
This is my most recent win too. Like, I'm still reveling in that. Like, people are asking me. I noticed a lot more tweets coming my way about, hey Dan, what are your picks for this card? Because I'm hot right now, and when you're hot in gambling, you ride that hot streak. With that being said. Go ahead. You got something to say? You got something to say, Algieri?
You've been in some slumps, some long ones.
I know. Let me have my moment, damn it. Shakur Foster is going to win this fight by a split decision. I think he's at the weight longer than Fulton. He's stronger. He's sturdy. He's durable. I like his jab. It's going to get ugly at times. It's not going to be the most fan-friendly fight. You might even hear some boos in the Frostbank Arena because they want blood, and that's not this type of fight. I got Foster by decision at plus 155. That's great value.
I have been picking Foster all week.
You've been doing a lot of interviews too for PPV.com.
You're going to see me out there, and there's going to be me picking Foster to win this fight. But during this discussion, I'm changing my mind. I can't do it again to myself. I can't pick against Fulton again because he made me look silly in the Brandon Figueroa fight. He's got that dog in him. And what you said, if this fight is boring, I think Fulton wins. If Foster doesn't use his physicality and he doesn't use his size, I think if they just match wits, that Fulton is busy enough to squeak by on the close rounds. Because for whatever reason, judges don't like giving Foster rounds. The guy is always in split decisions. The guy gets robbed. The guy has to come back from the brink to score a late round knockout. Abraham Nova, split decision. The rematch with Conceição, split decision. I mean, this guy, the judges don't like him. I guess he's just not busy enough. He allows too much wiggle room. And I think there's enough. I think Fulton's good enough and understands a round enough that he's going to take advantage of that wiggle room.
Really good analysis there because I can see that playing out. And El Shaki split decision Foster. And maybe Fulton is such a vet that he can steal a couple rounds with a flurry here and there. Yep. Crowd will go crazy for the flurry. Really close fight. I'm just going on a whim here. Like I was thinking Fulton all like in the lead up as well. It's just more decorated, and Foster's just always overlooked. But I'm going with Foster. That's how I feel on this Friday, December 5th. Should be a good one. Should be a good one at 1:30, and belts are opening up there because the minute Roach steps into the ring, so dramatic when they say that. The minute Roach steps into the ring, he's stripped of his WBA 130-pound title, which is not shocking news. Like Roach is not going back down to 130, but 130 is a weird weight class. There's no real name in it. You know, there's a lot of good fighters in it, but maybe the winner of this fight could reign there, become undisputed at 130, or at least have some unification. So. Should be a really good fight. Over to Erislandy Lara versus Johan Gonzalez. This was supposed to be Janabek in his big showcase fight or his coming out party. It's not. It's the complete opposite. He was told do not come to San Antonio because he tested positive for meldonium, plutonium. What has he got in his system? What's this word, Chris?
Meldonium. It's from Latvia actually, but it's basically it's a medicine essentially for like ischemia. So it increases blood flow. It's good for your heart. It's good for cardiovascular. But in terms of what it does for performance, it increases endurance. It makes your body use oxygen more efficiently. It opens up your blood vessels. It does a lot of things it's basically an endurance ped. Very, very beneficial for boxers. And it's the kind of thing that people are popping for a lot back in the 2000 teens, but not really a really common one that you would see. Certainly would help a fighter because this is an endurance-based sport. But it does kind of stay in your tissue for a while. It's a weird one to take because you can get caught. But what we're seeing now more and more, and this is something that almost never gets brought up, when these guys pop for these really small amounts, like right before the fight, no one really takes into account that these drugs and these chemicals will live in your tissue, especially your fat. And as you're cutting weight and you're melting the fat off your body, it liberates these chemicals. So now they go back into your bloodstream. So if you had that chemical in your off season and you stacked it into your body fat stores, and then fight week, you're coming down and taking off that body fat, now you release that chemical back into your system. So it really is never safe to take any kind of illegal drugs. It's just why year-round testing is the only way that we're going to keep these guys out of using stuff. Because really, guys are doing it in the off-season. I'm telling you right now, guys are using drugs, PEDs, in the off-season when they're not in camp, and the training effect is there. So we're seeing more and more of these guys, popping and this kind of thing, and it's really unfortunate. But I think it's you're seeing that the tests are going down to the picogram level. They're finding such small amounts. And some people look at that like, oh, well, yeah, because they're going to get contaminated. No, it's because they've probably been cheating just far out from when the testing window is. But now we're still able to find it. So it's really unfortunate. It's a real black eye for the sport. And it's really bad for the division because this division was about to get hot. And it's extremely bad for Janabek, who has just faltered over and over again, trying to get to the big show. He didn't make weight a few fights ago. Now this, I'm sure they're going to strip him, but who knows? This is boxing. They'll probably, under the rug and everybody forget about it as we go on.
No. He's got to get stripped. There's zero leeway with this drug. There's no threshold. It cannot be in your system. It's not the Ostarine that Matthias was on, and he's allowed to fight. He was placed on probation. It's a whole nother story that we'll have to get to in another episode. But this was very disappointing for a number of reasons. Like you said, 160 pounds was getting really interesting. Where this is supposed to be a unification bout. This is supposed to be Janibek's big shot here to get his just due. He's always complaining about no one wants to fight me. I'm the boogeyman. Why can't I get my shot? Meanwhile, he's on PEDs to fight a 42-year-old man. And Lara even said that. Lara said, how embarrassing is it for this guy that he had to take PEDs to fight me and I'm 42 years old? Like Lara was disgusted with this guy, and he lost so much money. Jan, I know we hear about there's no ramifications, and really it's different for every type of fighter. Like Janibek is not a big name, and he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Ryan Garcia is going to get the benefit of the doubt because he makes money for he puts money into the pockets of a lot of people in boxing. So Ryan Garcia did serve a 1-year suspension. That's a pretty long suspension in boxing terms, and he sat out. But now he's getting a title shot, and the gravy train will continue for Ryan, for Golden Boy, for WBC, and everyone there. Janibek, I don't think so. I think he's going to get stripped, and he loses on this payday. And if Crawford does go to 160, he potentially loses on the Crawford payday. And that should stick into the minds of some fighters here. We're not going to see changes overnight. We're not going to see lifetime bans. I think a 2-year ban would be a good start, and that would really, really make these guys think because we're only fighting 2 times a year. So if you pop, and if you don't get caught, because as you said numerous times on the show, and you do it so eloquently, these guys, they know how to beat the tests. There's more money in beating the test than there is in the PEDs, or just as much. So I don't think there's gonna be widespread changes, but it's just this was bad. A fight week cancellation on this type of card is huge. I hope he is stripped, and I saw the WBC is trying to get rid of contamination loopholes, which would change a lot of things too. So I do think there'll be some changes. It sucks that it has to happen like this because I was really looking forward to this fight. But Janibek is just another name now in boxing. There's a widespread problem with PEDs. We're going to talk about it on the show. It's one of your expertise, Chris, and it stinks. It absolutely stinks. But in steps Johan Gonzalez, who defeated Jarrett Hurd in March. He was on standby. PBC does a really good job of having guys ready to hop in. He did get stopped by Yoenis Tellez earlier in, I think, 2025 or early 2025. Not the greatest replacement, but we'll see Lara in there has a belt at 160 and is 42 years old.
Yeah, he's fought on Pro Box TV a few times, and I was there when he beat Jarrett Hurd. I was at the Barclays Center, and I was surprised that fight was as close as it was because Jarrett Hurd fought on Pro Box as well. He did not look good when he fought. And so Gonzalez coming off of not a great performance against Jarrett Hurd, and he's got that knockout loss to Tellez, but I mean, Tellez is very good. Not a great replacement, but the guy, he got stopped by Ramos Jr., who's also on the card. It's weird to see him at this level. He's not that level of a guy, but again, like you said, on last replacement, and I'm just happy that Lara gets to fight and gets to get paid. But otherwise, this is not a great fight. And
so you're thinking Lara stoppage?
I think Lara stoppage because, listen, being in shape is one thing. Being in fight shape is a whole other thing. Being in 12-round world championship level shape is an entirely different thing. I don't think he sees the end of this fight.
Yeah, Lara's completely changed his style from when he fought Canelo, which he still thinks he won. The clip is on our social media. It's so funny. So I'm doing the interview with him, and he doesn't speak English, or at least he doesn't speak English on camera. And he's got his interpreter, and I'm like, "You beat Canelo, right?" And I had asked him a bunch of questions before. He understood that one right away. His eyes perked up. He understood that question, and he went right into it. Yeah, I beat him, blah, blah, blah. De La Hoya robbed me. Yeah, it was 14 years ago, but it still burns me. And Canelo's a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But, it's still in this, I was sticking it to the side of him, that he should have got that win over Canelo. That was 14 years ago. This guy's been around for Unk status. I asked him if he knew what Unk meant, and he didn't. He's
OG status, bro.
Yeah, OG status. Yeah. Absolutely. And he, early on in his career, he was at Cuban School of Boxing, Swift, in and out. Some people think he didn't beat Canelo because he was on his bike too much, but that's not the case over the last 5 years. He's way more of a stationary fighter because his legs, as we know, Father Time is undefeated, but he's sitting down on his shots and he's knocking guys out. He had that weird win over Danny Garcia. He stopped Michael Zarafa. He stopped Gary Sullivan. He stopped our boy Cornflake. Not the heaviest of hitters on this resume for Lara. It's unbelievable with the WBA.
No, he's stopped a lot of lower level, non-championship level guys. But guess what? Johan Gonzalez is not a world championship level guy either, and he's coming on short notice. So that's why I'm sticking with the stoppage win for Lara.
Yeah, I'm going with stoppage too. Lara by stoppage is minus 160. So he's favored. Vegas they think that Lara's gonna get the stoppage. We also have a really nice fight at 160 eliminator. Jesus Ramos versus Shane Mosley Jr. Really cool moment.
Sneaky good fight.
Really cool moment, Chris. Really cool moment in the in our little fighter room that we're doing the interviews. Mosley walks in with his dad, Shane, and his grandpa, lineage.
Whoa!
And, yeah, Shane Senior. Is it Shane Senior? The third? I don't know his name. The dad, Shane Mosley's dad, the third.
Yeah, he's Shane Mosley as well. Yes.
3 Shane Mosleys in the room, and I was like, "Damn, awesome. This is so cool!" And Shane Mosley, Sugar Shane Mosley, told a story that my dad was in my corner for my first big title shot. This is an interim title fight, so I brought my dad here, and I was like, "Damn, that's cool." Boxing is all about family. It's all about fathers and trainers, and Shane Mosley Jr. is a great kid. Lineage. That's what I said. I said lineage. I shook all their hands. It was cool to see Sugar Shane Mosley get the love all over San Antonio. I like this fight. I like Jesus Ramos too, going up from 154 to 160. He's settling in at 160. He told me, as long as he can make the weight, he sees the landscape of the division, sees guys popping, sees Lara 42 years old, sees potentially Crawford joining it. I mean, Ramos could be positioned if he wins this fight really well in the next year in terms of collecting belts. If he can stay at the weight, because he's huge.
Very smart move. He was fighting at 54. Remember, we met him?
Yeah.
I forgot which undercard it was. But when he fought Lubin, when he lost to Lubin, we met him, and I was like, I went to him. I was like, man, you're big, huh? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, I couldn't believe he was that big making 54, which apparently was hurting him because he did not look good that night against Lubin, which makes me think. I always kind of like, I really liked him. And I think going into the Lubin fight, I was like, I like this kid. This kid's a stud. And then that performance always makes me kind of like pump the brakes a little bit. Like,
yeah,
he can be disarmed. He can be in a fight where he's doesn't really live up to what I think he can. But maybe it was the weight. Maybe this is going to be a new guy at 60. But I'll tell you what, Shane Mosley Jr. is no walkover. Especially him at 160. I remember last time I saw him, he was fighting Danny Jacobs at 168, and he just shellacked Danny all over the ring that night. And Shane is athletic. He's big for the weight. That's a tough first fight in a weight class because, again, Shane is athletic and experienced. He can punch a little bit. This is a good fight. This is a sneaky good fight. And don't be surprised if Shane makes this a really good fight. That being said, I'm going to go with Ramos Jr. for the win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, though, I'm going to go Ramos money line.
My Vegas.
Actually, no, I'm going to go Ramos UD.
Flip flopper. Ramos.
This ain't the same
winner. Minus 1,400 favorite Ramos. That's an insane number. That's crazy. They don't think much of Mosley at plus 700. Ramos by stoppage minus 170. They're really high on Ramos.
Wow, I think he's gonna stop him.
Yeah, Ramos at 154. I think he made a really good decision. 154 is too loaded. It's too political. Like Virgil and Boots. Who knows what's going on there? Crowded division. So go to 160 where you're more comfortable, and maybe Crawford pops in there, or maybe the Janibek belts become. He gets stripped, and
he hasn't been a world champion yet. So you gotta think title fight first. You gotta try and pick up a title.
Really
good move, like you said.
Yeah, it's cool. Like you can tell that he's coming into his own. Ramos. He's been on a lot of PBC cards. Like they have really high hopes for him. He's in his early 20s. He's a pretty shy guy. He's not really outspoken, and he walks in the room as we're getting ready for our interview, and he's got 3 camera guys with him, and he's got a whole team now. And I'm like, bro, I could tell you're moving up in life and moving up the ranks because I never seen you have a camera crew. Everyone starts laughing, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I hate this. He's like, I hate the cameras. He's like, I hate that I have to have them here. He's like, but I have to. He's like, I'm making content. He's like, I want to bask in it a little more. I want to enjoy it more. I want to look back, and it's a title shot for him. You know, it's an interim title, and that those do mean something to these fighters. So that was pretty cool to see. And I think if he gets past Mosley, and then he can get some guys at 160, but I do expect him to win. I'm going Ramos by stoppage, which is minus 170. But I think Mosley will put up a good fight. And I think he's going to be spirited in there with his dad and his grandpa. Pretty cool. That opens up the card. So all in all, good card. I mean, these are some really intriguing fights, really intriguing storylines. Janabek, you're not going to ruin our parade. You're not going to rain on our parade. You're not going to rain on our Riverwalk. You're out. And a lot of stuff going on in boxing. We don't have
afuera.
Out.
That means you're out. You're out.
Leave. I have a bunch of nuggets here, like headlines over the last 48 hours in boxing. We're not going to get to all of them, but it's insane, bro. Crawford stripped of WBC title for failure to pay sanctioning fees. Ali Act goes in front of Congress. I'm looking at Twitter yesterday, and I'm watching the Ali Act being discussed by major politicians and crazy quotes and insanity. Inoue Nakatani targeted for May. Let's celebrate that one, Chris.
Oh boy!
Tokyo Dome.
We should book our flights.
If we book our flights, is that the kiss of death and one of them loses on December 27th?
No. That fight's happening, dude. That fight is happening.
I hope so.
Neither one of those guys
that.
Are losing. Neither one of those guys are losing. That fight is happening. All right, we got to look at
That's
flights.
So cool.
Did they say a day yet, or they just said in May?
They said May 6th or something of the sort.
Oh, so that's going to be a hell of a weekend. Jesus.
What do if I buy a cowboy hat in San Antonio, what do I buy in Tokyo?
A kimono.
God, that's gonna slap. That video is gonna
it's gonna slap.
Well worth the 15 hours in the air.
Totally.
Frank Sanchez ordered to fight Richard Torres in an IBF eliminator like that.
Tough fight
Sanchez, for Torres.
Yeah, good. He needs to step up.
And what is this Usyk Wilder news? Our boy Usyk's moving weird lately.
Yeah. Listen, I had said, like, I don't hate it because, listen, he can do whatever the hell he wants. He beat Tyson Fury twice. He beat Anthony Joshua twice. He beat Daniel Dubois twice. Doesn't really want to give Wardley the time of day right now. He will. He'll come back around. But the only guy he didn't get are that horseman of the apocalypse of those guys is Wilder. I think he just wants to close the circle. He's a very systematic guy. I get it. And I think we should give him a little bit of grace that he can go do what he wants to do. I mean, he probably stops Wilder in a couple rounds, but whatever.
Wilder did not look good in that comeback fight last year.
No, he did not.
Got the stoppage, but it was a slow-moving train.
When's the last time he looked good? I gotta like look this up.
2020, 2019.
So it was the third
Luis
fight with
Ortiz.
Fury, right?
Yeah, no. Third fight with Fury in the early rounds. It's been a while, and I get why Usyk wants to do it because I just don't think he wants to fight. He's just going for the biggest names and the biggest events. And I don't even know if it's a big event. Is it a big event? Is Usyk Wilder in Vegas like a ticket seller?
No, they probably just do that in Riyadh.
No, they said he wants to do it in Vegas. It's nothing to do with Riyadh. This is all hearsay. I mean, the quotes and the stories that were coming out of this WBC convention all week were insane. Where it was crazy rankings, like Conor Benn being ranked number 1 by the WBC at 147, despite not fighting there in 5 years, despite not having a win at 147 in years, despite beating a Chris Eubank who apparently was on getting some type of health problems, death's door. Like, dude, the scenes in this sport, like, open your phone as a boxing fan and open up Twitter. You're liable to see anything right now.
Yeah, I've always said boxing is the Wild Wild West, which is funny because you're wearing a cowboy hat. But it's worse than that. It's worse than the Wild Wild West. We're like in a post-apocalyptic hellscape where anything can be going on. You're going out into the Badlands and you just see like anything could be there. That's boxing right now. We're not the Wild Wild West anymore. Manifest Destiny is over. We moved out west. It is post-apocalyptic Badlands out there.
Bro, you have guys like Sean Gibbons who's seen it all. I was in the elevator with him, and I was like, dude, have you ever experienced like a time in the sport where it's been this batshit crazy? And he's like, no.
That's from him. That's crazy
him
because he has seen it all. He was around when Pacquiao was in his heyday, so
But even before that, like, I love that guy. He's such a character. Yeah, that's our fight picks. Make sure you join us in the live interactive chat. We'll do a giveaway on this episode in the comment section. Yeah, if you're going to order the fights, just do it with us. You know, we try to churn out all this content, and in return, we know you'll be watching the fights. So order on ppv.com, where you can join me and Chris on the live interactive chat. You can ask me anything you want to ask. You can ask Chris for dating advice. You can ask Chris for financial advice. You can pitch yourself to be in the next movie that Chris works on. You can ask Chris for steak reviews. Anything else that you should be asked in the chat?
Nutrition questions, fitness questions, boxing questions, movie roles.
You build some stuff at your house, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty handy. My dad was a carpenter, so pretty handy guy.
Shout out Mr. Algieri.
Yeah, he's the man. He's coming down. He's coming down for the holidays and New Year's.
No way. That guy's the best.
Flying the old man down.
That guy. The whole Algieri crew is just top tier people.
Quite a crew. I was hanging out with Mikey Carlos, my oldest nephew, the very promising young boxer. I had him on set with me for the movie. He was one of the trainers that I hired to help me with the actors.
So cool.
And then he was one of the actors in the movie. They hired him to be one of the Olympic Training Center coaches. So, cool. So the kids in the entire movie. Like he's all over the place.
He's got the life.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's a good kid. He deserves it.
All right, everyone. Enjoy the fights. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Sunday or Monday with our review and any other insane news. We will touch on the Crawford stuff on Monday and get into some more. Yeah, it's not the time and the place. Like, let's focus on the fights, guys. We can always get to the nonsense on another episode. Protect yourselves at all times. Keep your hands up at all times. Say hello to those DMs. Goodbye from Texas.
Cowboy Dan Canobio.